Hey, everybody, welcome to Elseworlds Exchange. I'm Sal.
Hey, and I'm Joel.
Hey, welcome to 2020 Elseworlds. It's basically the same show. No changes planned outside of a couple of aesthetic changes and,
Ooh.
more comic pop people as we go. But you've seen that already.
Yeah,
So that
but
was really
we're in the future though.
Yeah,
Here
but
we
we
are
are
in
in the future. Watch out for Arno Stark because things are happening. So today we're going to be talking about supporting cast and families of superheroes. Not like Jonathan Samuel Kent being Superman's son, although he is part of the Superman family, but more like the Superman family, like Jimmy Olsen and Perry White and stuff. Like we're talking about those kinds of people. The people who keep the heroes supported. The
Yeah,
supporting cast, if you will.
it's like that's why it's called that.
Exactly. Before we get started, I want to say welcome back to the show, Joel.
Thank you.
And also, I wanted to say this episode is sponsored by the live viewers out there. Those of you who are watching the show right now as it is happening live, you are a sponsor of the show, and I bet you didn't even know it. All you got to do to support the show is to use the super chats. And for your added trouble, you can also ask a question or make a comment, and we will read it here on the program. Try to weave it in organically so it doesn't seem like it's not part of the show. It is part of the show, and it's happening as the show moves towards its inevitable conclusion. We're going to jump into this thing by saying Lucha Dandy says donating because Danielle is best mod.
Aw.
She is. Thank you very much. Danielle rocks, and I'm very lucky to have her. And
She's a star supporting player of our show. If the Elseworlds Exchange was a story and we were the heroes of that story, a dynamic duo, she would be, the put upon supporting cast member who makes it all work.
exactly. No, she definitely would be part of the family. Let's talk about some families. I know that I have a list here, and it's just your list.
Yeah.
I know it because I was thinking about because you mentioned it and you were thinking more like supporting cast, and I was thinking the families, like the Flash family. Where it's not, and I don't mean like Iris. I mean like the actual people who are speedsters. Like Wally and Barry and Bart and Jay and Max Mercury and Jesse Chambers.
I mean, it all kind of runs together eventually. A lot of the time, if you support long enough in a superhero book, you get to become a superhero yourself at some point.
Well, especially if it's a Flash.
Yeah.
You definitely get speedster powers. Hell, if you're the son of a villain like Captain Cold, you too can be a speedster because we want to make you the new speedster in the upcoming 5G story arc.
Is that what's going on in Flash? I am very far behind in that series. Is
Captain
that where
Cold Jr. is going to be the new Flash.
Huh. Is Williamson going to keep writing it?
I don't know. I would assume that everyone who is being replaced will also have a creative team that's going to replace them.
I guess that makes sense.
Tynan's going to get replaced. I'm sure whoever's writing Wonder Woman's going to get replaced.
Well, that's just par for the course for Wonder Woman. That series has never had a consistent team.
No. I mean, it's funny because the inconsistency is the consistency. People go I love the Greg Rucka run. Do you?
I love the Gail Simone run.
Yeah, you mean that little window of time when they wrote the book? But yeah. Did I say Captain Boomerang? I meant Captain Cold.
Captain Cold. No, you said Captain Cold at first.
All right, good. Okay, I thought I said Captain Boomerang. Yeah, good. Well,
although that would be funny too, because Captain Boomerang did have a son who was Boomerang 2 for a little bit.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's man, he got a freaking promotion.
Yeah. No. Speed. Yeah, Cold and Speed. I guess because Cold is so fat. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I was thinking the Flash family. And what's funny is at the top of the show, before we really get into it, I wanted to mention I'm not a huge fan of the families.
I know you're not. That's always where you and I think that's one of the biggest things you and I actually disagree on.
Yeah, because it's about, I guess it's about legacy, right? It's about who can carry the torch. And I'm right on, okay, I get that. Terry McGinnis taking up the mantle for Batman far in the future. But what I don't care for is if they were well, let's have Terry McGinnis now too. Because it's all about redundancies for me. It's always about having extra characters or extra versions of those characters, and that's where I'm no, don't complicate it. With the Flash, and I guess it's for me, it's there is a finite amount of fandom out there.
Yeah.
And if you tap too much of it, you will eventually run out. If there's an audience that wants a fast, fun, optimistic character, right? They're gonna buy Flash.
Right.
But if you give them 2 Flashes, a girl Flash, and an old man Flash, and then another old man Flash, and they're all Flashes, you're going to run out of audience. And you're going to diminish the audience for the prime reason they're there in the first place, which is Flash.
Mm.
That
You see, again, I'm totally of a different mind on that. I think it's like, man, imagine the stories you could tell with a girl Flash and an old man Flash and a different type of old man Flash that you couldn't tell with Barry.
Well, exactly. And it really is for me, the benefit I see in like a family of heroes is that they are like a barrier from editorial influence, where it's like, if I want to screw up Barry Allen, you got to
Right.
get through 4 other Flashes before you want to upset his status quo.
Huh,
Now,
I never thought of it that way.
obviously,
Yeah.
Wally West, I can screw up his status quo literally anytime I want to, because
And
I
they
have a
do.
seething hatred of this character. But but literally, like, if I want to, like, what if Barry Allen were a girl? Well, just put Jesse Chambers in there.
Yeah.
Just do that story. Now what frustrates me about that, of course, is that when you have like a long-standing tradition and like a legacy of speedsters or arrows or bats,
Yeah.
the problem comes when you live in this era of comics where they're like, yeah, it would really be smart for me to use the existing supporting cast and do something fresh, innovative, and new with one of those characters, particularly because they're a quote-unquote derivative of that character and as such don't get as much play.
Yeah.
But actually it behooves me to make an identical version of one of those characters, but that I made myself so that I can own it.
There's a lot of that going on for sure at both companies. They're both pretty guilty of that.
Oh, Riri Williams is just James Rhodes' niece.
Yeah.
Jim Rhodes has a niece who is Riri Williams, but
I
Bendis
remember
is
that
like,
character.
but I want to do my own version of that. Obviously, I could do that, but I already have all this Alias money and all this Quake money and all of this, what's her name? Head of S.H.I.E.L.D., Maria Hill money.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I have all these characters that I've made and that I own. Well, not own, but like I get residuals from. I get royalties off of. It's why nowadays when like a creator leaves the publisher, that character gets diminished or put away.
I mean, well, it's Riri was in an interesting situation there, is that then, she got another book by another writer and everyone's like, oh, this was much better than what Bendis was doing.
By the way, I wholeheartedly agree. They actually really like cleaned up Riri's problem.
They did.
For me, like that I had, where I'm like, she's bland and boring. I don't really care for her.
In 2 books, too, both in her main series, and Zub worked really hard with her, too.
Zub's a hardworking man.
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, no. But at the core, at the purest example of these families or these
The
supporting
Nugety
characters,
Center.
yeah, you have a rich history and a legacy that can't be denied. I remember, like, I'm not a Flash fan. I understand it, I appreciate it, but as far as the Flash goes, when you deal with like the Flash Museum and the Flash family, it's more like I'm a member of the DC universe, and I'm like, oh yeah, over there they have their Flash, and I think I can name probably 3 or 4 members of the Flash family, but like I don't care about their adventures, I don't care about their struggle. It's more like I appreciate that they exist, and I know there's somebody out there who like loves those characters.
Naturally.
So good for them. There's nothing about the expansive nature of building a supporting cast for characters that I don't really care about because they don't impact me in any way. So why not?
And it's funny too, again, as we talked about before we started, so many of the supporting casts are so subject to change generation to generation, writer to writer, because every writer wants to put their own stamp on it and, kind of fill the world with their own characters. It's really rare that you get like a Batman or a Spider-Man where it's like, okay, these supporting cast members never change. There's always going to be Alfred, except for right now, but that's actually the exception that proves the rule. There's always going to be an Alfred, always going to be a Commissioner Gordon, probably a sidekick, probably Joker, probably Catwoman at some point. There's your supporting cast, although that's, more in villain territory. Spider-Man too, there'll always be an Aunt May, always be a Mary Jane, probably always be a Harry in there at some point.
Right. You don't even need Harry. There was a good 10 to 20 year span when there was no Harry. You got Aunt May, Uncle Ben has to have already been dead.
Yeah.
A girl. Usually
Yes.
It's Mary Jane in every other media, but it could be anybody, really. And J. Jonah Jameson.
Yes, J. Jonah Jameson, the other very important ingredient in the Spider-Man cocktail.
Right. And a villain. With
Yes.
We actually just covered Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader, which was Neil Gaiman's kind of like last word on Batman. And
I watched that episode.
yeah, thank you very much for watching. At the end of the book, they do this kind of like reading of the good night moon trope. And
very clever.
As a result, when they're saying goodnight to Batman, they say goodnight to the things that make Batman Batman. And it's like, as long as you have these elements, you can tell Batman stories until the end of time. And it really was like Boy Wonder, Commissioner Gordon, Gotham City, the Joker, and the rest.
Yeah.
Like Alfred and the cave and the trophies in the cave. Like there's a couple of like visuals, and then there's the characters. And in the characters for Batman, and that's really at the core for me, that's the Bat family. Like the Bat family for me is Alfred, maybe a Robin, Commissioner Gordon, and the villains. For me, that's all you need. You want to add some stuff. I remember when I was first getting into comics pretty seriously, the Batman animated series was around, and they turned me on to a character, Leslie Tompkins.
Yes.
And I remember being like, I don't know anything about this person. This woman found Bruce Wayne, helped like heal him a little bit. Like I thought it was always Alfred, but apparently there's this Leslie Tompkins character. Didn't infringe on my worldview of the Bat family, because also Leslie's kind of on the periph, and it's also like an interpretation of Batman's mythos. It's not just totally like everywhere. You don't always have to have Leslie. But
I'm so glad you mentioned Leslie, though, because she's always been one of my favorite additions to a supporting cast, because she's got her own stuff going on, believes in helping the city in a completely different way than Batman sees helping the city, and also she fills that motherly role in the same way Alfred fills the fatherly role.
Right. It's actually kind of fascinating that anyone thought, hey, you know what's kind of important to a person's development? The mother in some way, or some mother figure. And Leslie occupies that because there isn't one outside of Bruce's recollection of his own. But when it, and I think maybe back then that was when it was pretty sparse. You know, like in the Golden Age, Silver Age, you had Batwoman, Batgirl, but really, by the time the animated series rolls around, there's like 2 episodes of Batgirl in them.
Don't forget Aunt Harriet too, who was there for a little bit.
Yeah, those characters, I'm like, move on. Don't bother.
You know what's truly goddamn hilarious about Aunt Harriet? They introduced her in the comics the first time they killed Alfred. The first in canon time they killed Alfred. So what we're really saying is, James Tynion, 2020 is the year Aunt Harriet comes back.
Yeah, you got to bring her back, and you got to bring her back before they replace your ass. So, kind of get Aunt Harriet working.
Right now. I am your long-lost aunt you didn't know about. I'm the black sheep of the Wayne family. I don't know, moved to Seattle or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm not a Wayne. I'm your mother's sister.
There you go.
Like, right? Yeah. Will.i.am Golden says, when you think about it, DC is more family/legacy oriented than the characters at Marvel. I agree with that entirely. It's kind of funny because, like, both those companies seem to be allergic to age, but DC seems to have been, like, there must have been, like, someone was asleep at the wheel where somebody let them age, because Marvel, no. Like, there is no room for Cap to have a son, unless they're in, like, another dimension.
Yeah, except for that time he talked about another character who fell off the face of the earth and no one talks about any again, Zola Jr., his adopted
Zola
kid.
Jr., I want that kid back. I loved that idea. But yeah, no, Marvel, not a lot of room for legacy, although I will eventually, at some point, hopefully talk about the Spider family, which I think I hate more than the Bat family. Gaius Lord Zero says, hey guys, love the show. You two are my favorite YouTubers from comics. The Bat family and Spider family / Spider-Verse are my 2 favorites. There you go.
Yeah, again, you mentioned the Spider-Verse, because once you start getting in the multiversal Spider-Man as well, it's a whole other ball game in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of amazed that they haven't Spider-Versed up Batman. There is a moment in Dark Knight's Metal where, like, the Batverse shows up.
Yes, that's right.
But you could tell, like, none of them to communicate with each other. They're literally there for 2 pages, and then that's it. And, like, there is no communication. The only one that actually is indicated is actually in a recent Justice League, until Perpetua destroys the Gotham by Gaslight universe, where he's like, there's a multiverse. I'm one Batman of many. I've talked to the other Batmen. Like, I'm like, oh, wow, really? That's kind of neat. Oh, you're dead.
I feel all the Batman would hate each other for different
Oh yeah,
reasons.
no,
I feel
totally.
that they wouldn't get along like the Spider-Man would get along, which in its own way would kind of make for an interesting story. It's like Batman is the most untrustworthy man in the world. What if you put him into a room with only other Batman? Would they only not trust each other?
I love the idea that like that our Batman is like the black sheet of the Batverse, and that like
Mm,
the other Batmen are like, oh, don't talk to Batman Prime. He is an
mm.
asshole. uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, but he says I noticed that the superhero families are just dysfunctional, mostly like the Batman family.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd say so. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a different comment. My apologies.
I would say,
Um,
yeah, they are dysfunctional because what is it? Conflict is the essence of drama,
well,
as
naturally.
they say. So naturally, every family relationship needs to be a dysfunctional family relationship with lots of secrets and lies. Batman
Yes.
loves his secrets and lies.
Right. That was James Robbins who mentioned that
Ah,
most of the superhero families are just dysfunctional, like the Batman family. I agree. Why, he says how can writers write superhero families better? I get, and when you're talking about the legacy, I think that you just need to look at the best examples of it. You know, like I think the Flashes balance it pretty well
they do.
for a family that has one power that all of them have.
Hmm.
They're all pretty well adjusted, and they all
True.
seem to balance their adventures well and come up with like, well, I have a solution to this problem. Does it involve running really fast?
Sure does.
Shit. Yeah, I guess it does. Well, then any one of us could do it. I guess we should let Barry do it though. He's been doing it the longest.
Yeah, similarly too about families with the same powers. The Green Arrow family,
Yeah.
specifically in the Judd Winnick era, when he brought Mia into the fold, and brought back Connor Hawke and all these other characters, and they kind of formed this nuclear family where they
Yeah.
knew they were really messed up and that this was really weird, but they're like, no, let's make it work. Let's live with our metaphorical father in his mansion and his girlfriend Black Canary, and let's make it go be a real family.
No,
Let's
it's
do this
true.
shit.
Yeah, I think they call it Team Arrow, and
Team Arrow,
yeah,
yes.
no, that includes people like Dinah and Arsenal and Connor and Speedy and
Yeah.
Shadow.
Oh yeah, Imiko now, who is also part of it, being his adopted half
Uh
sister
huh.
in the new continuity, but treated more like his daughter. They also aged her up in between arcs too, which was interesting. She was like a toddler, and then they're like, no, make her a little older so she can join the Teen Titans.
Right, exactly. But yeah, the Arrow family, out of all of the superhero families, the Arrow family should be the most dysfunctional because Ollie is such a volatile jackass who, like, I don't know. It's like he desperately wants to have like a personal life, but he
Yeah.
also, I think, always will intentionally sabotage it.
And he does, and that's what's fascinating about it. And then you got all these other characters with all their other baggage. Roy, hey, I'm a recovering drug addict. He kicked me out. My ward is a junkie. I love him and I hate him.
Yeah.
Again, half sister from my father who I didn't know who had a secret life. And Mia, former sex worker on the streets, a superhero with HIV, and yet we all live together happily.
Right. And I think the difference between like the Arrow family and the Bat family as far as like dysfunction goes is that Batman's issue is that he is dysfunctional. He's like he
Mm,
can't help it. Like it's like a compulsion.
yes.
Arrow, like Ollie, I think he's like ultimately an irresponsible person who just wants to be single and alone. Like he's a dude who's just like, I just kind of want to get laid and be a superhero. Like, is that I just ultimately want to be selfish, and so I sacrifice my relationships to service that innate desire that I don't want to admit I have.
The way I've always looked at it there is that Ollie is the person that Bruce Wayne pretends to be.
Right. Yeah, no, but Ollie really is. Like, Bruce is like, I drink, club soda, pretend it's champagne. I sleep with girls, but really I just drug them and then make Alfred take them home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
with Ollie, he's like, why would you waste a perfectly good supermodel?
Yeah, I actually am a spoiled rich kid though with demons that I'm trying to work through, and my parents died / were evil / were eaten by lions sometimes, depending on what
And
continuity we're looking at.
didn't Ollie, like, kind of, like, get traumatized later in his life than Bruce
Yes, he
did?
did.
So it's like,
Yes, much later in life.
Bruce's is ingrained, whereas Ollie like knew from better. Like an 8-year-old's interpretation of reality is way
Mhm.
more skewed than whatever age Ollie was when his life got upturned.
Yeah, from his booze cruise that went horribly wrong.
Exactly, dude. Yeah, he knew a better life and would like to get back to it, please.
Yeah.
But also, I like shooting people with arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping back in, I just wanted to readdress the fact that Lord Zero said, "Do you consider the Green Lantern Corps a Green Lantern family?" Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I say yes because, like, you've got the makings of a perfectly dysfunctional family. You got Hal, the patriarch. You got John, the one everyone ignores. You got Hal. You got Kyle, the kid who went to college, like the art student,
the rambunctious kid.
And you got Guy, who like
the uncle who ruins Christmas dinner every year.
The drunk uncle, yeah.
Heck, is this me?
The one everybody doesn't want to invite.
I will take my pants off again and moon Batman. No, not again,
Not again, Guy, don't. Everyone's favorite uncle, Kilowog.
There you go. Exactly, everyone's favorite.
And their racist grandparents, the Guardians.
Who make more problems than they actually resolve.
They think, well, because they have age on their side, they think they have wisdom and they have perspective, but they wind up they keep voting for the wrong people and just deliberately screwing things up because they think they know better than you.
But we love them and we keep bringing them back because, you know, when they're gone, we're going to be really sad that they're not here anymore. And we're only going to remember the good times with the Guardians.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And of course, like Jessie Cruz, who's like the new, like she's, I don't know, like some, you know, she's the new member of the family.
Yeah. Yeah. And Simon Baz, too, who I feel he's even more forgotten than John at this point.
Yeah. Well, then you have, then you're basically creating a core of cast-offs.
Yeah, then you got Sinestro too, who's like he was in the family, but then there was a messy divorce, but he's still like really hung up on you guys.
Yeah, he's like your sister's ex-husband.
Yeah, who's still looking through the window every so often. What are you doing? Are you talking about me?
No, man, we all got over it.
Thal, get out of here. He's hanging out in his muscle car in the parking lot. Exactly like that Venture Brothers parody of Cobra Commander.
Like just meet someone else, man.
I tried this yellow ring thing. I'm very happy me in the yellow ring. No,
yeah, you seem it. You seem really happy. What was it? Z-Berm says Superman family, Shazam family, my favorites. Let's talk about the Shazam family.
Oh, yeah.
The one I hate the most because I don't really care for Shazam, so adding 3 more Shazams does not make it any better.
Well, again, it's funny, you know, the Shazam family, there's very 2 distinctive eras of it now, like you said. There's the old Captain Marvel era family with, you know, Uncle Dudley and the Bunny and Mary
and the
Marvel.
Tiger and
the Tiger, and then you got the newer version from the movie that Jeff Johns created in the comics, where it's like, all right, now they're a foster family in multiple ways, you know, and I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. That's an interesting little extra angle you took to the whole thing, and now obviously Billy has his dad back again in the comics.
Oh, okay. I dropped them, but
yeah, his dad is back, and his name is CC, which is interesting because obviously that's a reference to CC Beck, the co-creator of Captain Marvel.
That's nice.
And he also wrote a bunch of stuff for Supergirl, too, that we take for granted as well. CC Beck is one of the unsung heroes of DC Comics.
Nice. Or Wiz Comics.
Or Wiz Comics, as it was at the time. Dude got around. In fact, there was a great bit in the last issue where Wizard Shazam, who is also back alive now, and I guess also part of the family, if you want to break it down, where he's like, look, Billy, your power is you can give the power to other people. You've been hanging out with your foster family, and that's been pretty cool, but your dad's come back into your life now, and now your heart is at war with itself. You have to decide who gets the power. Oh, yeah, he made his dad a Guardian.
Right, okay.
So his dad is now a Shazam, too.
Oh, my God. The problem with Shazam is not that there aren't enough Shazams.
Like, more Shazams.
Like, I like Freddy, and I'm, like, really glad he gets to be a Shazam. I think Mary Marvel, like, I think the Captain Marvel suit just looks better on a woman anyway, so I'm down for that.
Her costume is the best. And it's the only one that's different, and no one even mentions that in the new thing, where it's like, hey, all costumes are all derivatives of his, but not yours.
Yeah, because mine has history. You're all new characters, whatever. But, like, each of them is an aspect of his own. Like, I have all the powers, but each of you has one of my powers.
Yeah, and other stuff we haven't written yet because that's how new all this Shazam shit is.
Right, and it's like, I'm not sure if you're not sure how it's gonna go. Inventing like 4 new characters might not be the way to start. But
I see what he's doing is that, again, Johns, I think he's trying to get back to what he did with the Green Lantern Corps. It's like, no, they're a Shazam
more
Corps.
lanterns.
Or lanterns, exactly. It's a Shazam Corps. I know what it's like inventing multiple heroes, and also 7 champions for 7 realms. I promise there'll be no more than 7.
Right, fine. But yeah, no, that's true. Like, listen, if more lanterns was the solution for Green Lantern, more Marvels might be the solution for Captain Marvel. But like, I'm having a hard time getting into Captain Marvel.
Just the one, yeah.
So, but wait, there's 6 more. Like, but that being said, like in the context of this standalone movie that doesn't have thousands of comics behind it,
yeah,
I was like, oh, cool, all right, that's fun.
It's a really good movie. As I watched it again over Christmas, and I'm like, man, this shit just kind of works.
It just straight up does. It does work. So I dig on that. Tevia says, why does Bendis hate Superman family, specifically Clark, Lois, and John Kent Superboy as a family, and want to keep Connor, which doesn't make any sense. Connor part of the Superman family. But I don't know if Bendis hates them so much as he just doesn't want to write about them, so he needs to explain where they are.
He's indifferent. He's uninterested.
Yes, and I don't know why he likes Connor if he likes anyone from Superman, which I'm not sure if he likes anyone but Superman.
Right.
But
and even then.
Yeah, and even then, I think he does kind of get Perry, so he likes that.
Because he's a lot like Jonah, and he wrote a lot of Jonah.
Right. But this is more like Zdarsky's Jonah than it is, But even still, like, I don't know if he hates him so much as he's just kind of like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to write that. I wanted to write Superman, like, saving cats and starting societies. Taylor Petcher says, I think the Wonder family is kind of underrated, like Diana, Donna, Cassie, Artemis, and Hippolyta.
Oh, yeah.
I would call them the Amazons, but I like the Wonder family. That's a good term.
I mean, really, I think the whole Paradise Island crew is Diana's family, because, again, she wasn't born in a traditional way. When she says sister, they are literally all my sisters.
Right. It's the way Jesus refers to everyone as his brothers.
Yeah.
By the way, that reminded me, there's a great, like, Bible passage in which, like, Jesus is, it's like when you're investigating whether Jesus had, like, family members and stuff. And there's, like, one passage where, like, they're asking Jesus, like, hey, your brother wants you. And he says, all of mankind is my brothers. Yeah. And, like, you could tell they're like, yeah, I know, but, like, your actual brother's downstairs. And, like,
literally.
Could you please, like, could you keep it at work? Like...
He's really pissed that you're putting him through this again. First, you didn't take over your dad's carpentry business. And now you're making your brother wait.
Yeah, and now you're marginalizing your brother. But
come on, Jesus.
Yeah, but I love the sisters, the sisterhood of Diana. I think that works really well because she comes from a secret society of women, and I like the idea of characters, like Cassie or Donna, who are not necessarily from Paradise Island, that, like, because I would put Harbinger in there sometimes when she's living there.
What's cool about that too, and now that I'm thinking about this in grander terms, as we often do, Wonder Woman rarely ever in the comics wants for more family, is the thing, because she's like, no, I have a whole island of family who I know and love, and yeah, sometimes I find out Zeus is actually like my shitty absentee father and everything, and I guess that also means the other Olympian gods are my family, but they're not the family that raised me. I can ignore them.
I'm not gonna make that a thing, and that's fair, and I'm glad she doesn't. But I do like that. Yeah, that Wonder Woman is like, she doesn't insist on it. She's not, like, focused on it. It's not like a thing for her. It's just kind of like, it's a given.
Yeah.
The only real, like, thing you see with that really is when she's separated from them. Like, when there's those periods of time in her continuity where it's like, I'm not allowed back. Yeah. And the tragedy of that, which is like, except you really could, like, if Darkseid shows up, you were allowed back on. Like, come on.
Yeah, the loss of feeling and community, even when it's adopted community.
Right. David C. Hey, guys, I can't think of a clever joke, and I got to get back to work, so thanks for everything you do. Here's a little token of appreciation. Thanks, David. Good. Get back to work. Good luck with you, man. Thank you very much for watching. Amazing Zero says, once I find him, the harder working family in the comics is the Fantastic Four.
I mean, they are the first family.
Right. Like, they're the family I think of when I think of superhero family. And I wanted to avoid, like, literal families, because, like, Fantastic Four, they're an actual family as opposed to, like, the family of books. If you want to go further, though, it's like the Fantastic Four and also people like Alicia Masters, who became a member of the literal family.
That's
but
very good. Wyatt Wingfoot, who's been a family friend for a long time.
Right, Spider-Man.
That's
more
true.
Like the fun neighbor who comes by.
He literally Kramers his way into their building all the time. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, hey, do you need a wacky adventure with me? And of course Doctor Doom.
Yeah, who is also kind of like a weird uncle from time to time. And Namor, too, who's like, well, now maybe not Namor, but sometimes
I would consider Namor to be, like, that's why it's like whenever they're talking about putting Namor in the MCU, I'm like, Namor deserves the Fantastic Four. Like, I don't care where you put him in anymore because the MCU is like, I don't know, a disaster, but like, I don't care. But I do like, I always associate him with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, likewise.
As opposed to, like, when we're talking about supporting casts, who's your supporting cast for Superman? When you're like, okay, like they've given me Superman, or they said like you got to do Superman Family book, which actually was a book, Superman Family.
Yes, it was.
Like, who's in this? Who are we going to focus on? Not necessarily which one, because I know you're going to focus on Dan Turpin, but like, who would you use?
I mean, yeah, Dan Turpin's pretty good. I wasn't going to start there, but fuck yeah, Dan Turpin. I was actually going to start with Ma and Pa Kent, actually, which is so funny because we haven't had them for so long.
Yeah, no, it's true. And with Doomsday Clock, maybe? I don't know.
I love the idea that if Superman's having a problem, he can fly back to Kansas to have lunch with his parents and be like, geez, guys, I don't know what I'm going to do about the parasite.
Yeah, right. No, I love the element of his parents, and I was very, very happy to imagine that they're returned. I've never been like, oh man, this book would be great if it wasn't for his stupid old family.
Exactly.
For me, when it comes to Superman's like supporting cast, the one I always forget about, but the one that whenever anybody uses him, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he's important, is Steve Lombard.
Yes, Lombard is also great, where it's like, look, this guy's a dick, but Clark still likes him anyway, and they still get along.
He's like a manageable Luthor, like a dumb Luthor, where it's like, I see the good in you, or I see the potential in you.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess I would have to use characters like Lombard and Pete Ross, like the best friend from childhood. Yeah. Lana Lang is an undisputed character, is an underutilized character nowadays.
Definitely.
The ex-girlfriend that then is also like a big thing. I always like that.
Confidant too, yeah.
Yeah. And of course Lois and Perry. I always love their relationship.
Oh yeah, it's the best, and not only is that the best, but the whole like Daily Planet cast of characters, very consistent and very constant. Like again, we talked about Flash, we talked about Green Arrow. Who are the regular people in their lives? Fucking changes, run to run,
That's
writer
true.
to writer. But again, with Superman, you keep the Planet cast pretty much for the entirety of his career. Even when they go and do other shit, the Planet cast is there.
Oh, I remember when Jimmy Olsen didn't work for the Planet anymore, but we kept going back to Jimmy Olsen and checking in with him. He worked for like WGBS. We got Tana Moon in there. Like, there's all these characters that have nothing to do with the Planet, and yet they're still here, and I'm still focusing on them because they're like, well, yeah, obviously we got to focus on what Jimmy Olsen's doing.
We can't not have Jimmy.
You forced him out of the book. No, we forced him out of the universe that Superman would be interested in. But we're still going to focus on him, though. And I'm like, that kind of compulsory comic book writing doesn't really exist anymore, and I think it's kind of fun. The idea where they're like, well, what are we going to do about Steve Lombard? And it's like, who gives a shit? And it's like, well,
we have to give a shit.
I don't care either, but we still have to focus on it. He's a member of the family. Like, they're real people. Like,
exactly.
Like when you're coming up with your guest list for Thanksgiving and you're like, well, you can't invite so and so, and it's like, well, you have to. They're a member of the family. Like,
yeah, he's my cousin. Yeah, I hate him. Yeah, we're gonna get into a fist fight later that night.
But they have to be on the list, and it's like it's very compulsory. But I love that.
Same. Also, too, minor character, but I always like it when he shows up, and I think you'll agree too. Bibbo Bobowski.
I love Bibbo. I remember when I first got into Superman, which of course was when he died. That was when I was like, I'll read Superman regularly now. I was like, who the fuck is Bibbo? And what is this all about?
What is this weird Popeye knockoff?
What is this Popeye guy? Yes, literally. I'm like, who is this guy and what's his deal? I love him. He's so stupid, but
yeah, he is.
But his earnestness and his genuineness, I'm like,
it's so fucking endearing.
Like if they were to be like, we're gonna do a hard reboot of every character in the Superman family, the one I would be like, well, don't do, like, you can make everybody different, but leave Bibbo alone.
Yeah.
Like, don't make him a secret villain or, unhappy. You know what I mean? Like, just leave Bibbo alone. He's just so pure.
Sure is. And I love when they work him in, like, oh, he owns a bar and it's a Superman themed bar. Because he loves Superman. So, like, again, if like Jimmy Olsen is Superman's pal, Bibbo is like Superman's #1 fan. And I like that exists.
Yes. I also like how Superman deals with Bibbo because, like, he deals with him like a fan.
Yes.
Where he's like, hey, but like, they don't hang out. He doesn't invite him into his life. He was not at the wedding. But he was like, hey, man, like keep fighting the fight, Bibbo. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you. In a city where Luther tries to turn everyone against me like once every couple months, I'm glad you'll always be on my side, Bibbo.
Yeah, spelling my name with 2 O's.
Yeah. Thanks.
I think that this is a character who should have become a regular member of the super. If it weren't for the fact that they were like, oh my god, we have a black character that Dwayne McDuffie doesn't own that we can use whenever we want to. I think if they hadn't thought of that, he would be a regular member of the Superman family, and that's John Henry Irons.
Oh yeah, they try every couple years to do something with him or his daughter, but yeah, John Henry should be a bigger deal. You're right.
Well, but I think literally the only reason why he's not like working at the Daily Planet or like being an actual Superman character is because DC is like, well, we got to use every time that we need to like fit a niche or push a new black character or make fill that void.
Make it look like we're being more socially progressive than we actually are.
Exactly. Then we'll just dust off John Henry Irons, and it's like if you've never read his debut in The Man of Steel, that book was bonkers.
Sure was.
Because it was about him and like that part of Metropolis, and the villain was specifically from that kind of mentality. It was a neat idea and not a traditional Superman book, and it was
they took some swings with it.
They did, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, I like the idea of representing like the black element of Metropolis, because for the most part you just kind of like see it from the sky. And you just see like buildings and Lex Luthor and stuff.
It's also a nice way to make him like, again, super different from Clark, middle America, small town Kansas, no big city Metropolis. I am from here and of here.
Yeah, I was a friggin' steelworker. I was on top of a girder when Doomsday attacked. Like, it's neat stuff. Yeah, the White Rabbit. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Again, too, where it's like, how can it's a shame that no writer has a pitch for that now in America with the steel industry where it is. It's like, you can't tell a story about a steel worker who's also a superhero.
Yeah, who is literally draped in the thing that he is good at.
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of story potential there, but no, that needs to be a Black Label book. That needs to be the alternate story there. It's like, what if Steel was the only hero in Metropolis?
That'd be dope. Yes, that's how you do.
Call me. I mean, I couldn't write it, but call me.
Yeah, that's fair. Canstaff Productions. Hey guys, side question: you think Spider-Man deserves a happy ending, or is he destined to have a heroic death like Ultimate Spider-Man? Everybody.
That's really a question of all heroes, isn't it?
Right. Whatever happened to the Capes Crusader says Batman's end has to end in death. Right. The Batman story is tragic. He is a man. He will die. At the end of the day, he dies. And
that's maybe he can sacrifice himself for other people.
Well, he could be gunned down by accident in an alley. He could be bled to death by Catwoman. He could save the world from Darkseid, but he does die. The end of Batman's story is that he dies, and it's because he's a man. Superman gets a happy ending because he's never going to die.
Tomorrow, he can do anything.
He can do anything. He's not from here. He's not a person.
And even when he does die, he just goes to the center of the sun for a while to restart it for the rest of us.
Right, and then comes back. Like, Spider-Man is a guy. He will die. And pushing his, like, popularity to support him and make him immortal is more like a wish fulfillment. Red Letter Media says that Indiana Jones is popular because Indiana Jones is not a character. People ascribe themselves to Indiana Jones.
He's a hat and a whip.
Yeah, he's a hat and a whip, and we are Indiana Jones. And the reason why we don't like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, besides the fact that the movie is terrible, is that he's old and we don't want to admit that we're old or that we're going to be old.
Interesting.
I don't agree at all, but it's an interesting thought exercise. And when it comes to Spider-Man, I do believe that most Spider-Man fans see themselves as Spider-Man. And so they want Spider-Man to have not only a heroic death, but alternatively some kind of magic formula or a secret deal with Thor, and so he can never die, or at least have like a happy ending.
And maybe that too is why Into the Spider-Verse was so well received as a movie, because it's like, yes, Peter Parker can die, but Spider-Man lives forever through the ripple effects throughout the multiverse, and also anyone can be Spider-Man on top of that.
Well, sure. And that also plays with the whole thing that Stan Lee said about Spider-Man, which was that anyone can be Spider-Man because he has a full body sock on, and anyone can imagine themselves in that. But yeah, I think that Spider-Man is destined to die. He has to. He, like all of us, like he will die. Just by virtue of him being a human being. The fact that he is a fictional character means that he can't ever die because he's not really alive, but the end of the Spider-Man story could end happily, but probably won't, which is his life. The start of Spider-Man story could have started happy, but it didn't because of his choices, and it will be his choice. Like, he will choose, whether he knows it or not, that he will die.
Like at the end of Life's Story, when he chooses to stay behind on the ship and Miles goes back to Earth and everything.
Right. But you do get like a dream that indicates that things are going to end up okay. Well, you get a dream that he's okay with it, at least. Taylor Pester, speaking of Marvel family, how about Black Adam's family from 52? Like Isis and Osiris. It was short-lived, but I loved it. Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Jeff Johns is saying he might bring them back, actually.
Why wouldn't he? I think he invented them.
Did he? That's a good question.
Because I think Johns was one of the 5 or 6 writers on 52, and I'm sure no one else would have thought to do it.
Yeah. There's a whole big thing like Black Adam is begrudgingly working with Savannah and Mind again, and the idea is that if he does, they'll give him the power to bring his wife and kid back.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, and I like that. I like that element of Black Adam. I don't know if it works all the time, and the problem is, like, eventually they're going to become their own characters. Like, if you keep them around long enough, once you add a new character to the roster of a major character, you can never put that genie back in the bottle.
It's true.
And that's the thing about supporting cast. It's why I'm always against, like, don't make the Signal, don't make a new Robin, don't give Batman a son, don't give Spider-Man a kid. Like, don't do these things, because once you do them, you'll never be able to undo them.
And you'll have to for every reboot, for every crisis, it's like, but where's his kid? But where is da-da-da?
You will, because of the nature of comic books, you create a character, you will invent a fandom around that character, unless it's Mosaic. But like otherwise, you will invent a fandom, and they will bombard you until you acquiesce, or you Heroes in Crisis them. But like it's a mess. So like don't be so hasty to create a new character.
You brought up Mosaic, and it made me think there about more forgotten comic book characters. Remember Alpha, the other addition to the Spider-Man mythos? Spider-Man's sidekick, Alpha?
How could I forget Alpha? I mean, like, what's funny is I remember Dan Slott being like, Alpha, the next big thing. But I always, like, took that as him being sarcastic. And I think he was. Like, I think he was like, no, Alpha's journey is going to end quickly. Like, I'm just kind of, like, playing with the hype.
Right.
But people took that really seriously, and they were like, you said he was going to be the next big thing, and he sucks. And he's like, yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? Like, it's not. Like, he's not the next
Spider-Man doesn't have a sidekick for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. But I like that.
Speaking of characters and families, too, what is it? Miss Marvel. Naturally, I can't go a couple episodes without talking about how much I love Miss Marvel and what G.L. Wilson did for that book. Her whole high school supporting cast is great and consistent, and I see them sticking around. And even when they don't, like when they wrote Bruno out of the book for a bit, we followed him to Wakanda, and he got to have a little adventure and got to come back a little different. And now they're trying to launch a new character off the back of Miss Marvel in this solid in a mid-run.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're trying to launch again. His name escapes me right now because I'm like 2 or 3 issues behind, sadly, because I've been buried with all the Christmas work. But it's interesting where they're like, look, okay, so Miss Marvel hit, and this character actually worked and is like a master class in how to launch a brand new hero in the modern age. Let's see if she has the power now to launch another hero.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I remember them. I didn't pick up the new book, but they're launching a new character.
Yes, there was much talk about it, and this is like a solid and a mid original, and like even CNN and like traditional media outlets picked up on this because they're like, hey, we picked up on Miss Marvel the first time and she worked out pretty well, so let's see if lightning strikes twice.
I don't know. I'm like, I didn't give it a chance, but maybe I'll go pick it up just to see.
Yeah.
Because with characters like Ms. Marvel or Carol, I'm like, yeah, knock yourself out and make as many characters as you want. It's untapped, it's unexplored, it's small. It doesn't affect me. Knock yourself out.
The Marvel family. We call it a family, though in truth they don't actually hang out or anything.
Not at all. Like, and I'm glad they don't. Like, I don't want them to force that because it's not. It doesn't mesh well. It won't work.
That's interesting. You're more okay with the Marvel version of Legacy, and that is, I was inspired by you. I take up your mantle when you're indisposed or away or whatever, but we don't go bowling and shit.
No. Well, because I don't want to step on your cape. I don't want to infringe on you.
Which is very much what Amid is doing with Spider-Man and Miles right now,
That's
where Peter Parker drops by, gives him some intel every so often, and goes, okay, I'm going to let you get back to your birthday party. I'm going to let you get back to your thing now, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I got Uptown to worry about. You got Queens, so,
Right. You have your own life. I know. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
You're not even really supposed to be here. So do your own book. Like, don't be in mine.
Which they're addressing that now, the whole Ultimate Universe.
I know.
I'm a couple issues behind on that, but I'm so happy Amid is finally addressing that.
Right?
Because to ignore that, I think cheapens Miles as a character and his journey.
Yeah, I agree. Well, whatever his journey is, I don't think he fits in this universe because he wasn't made for it. It's not his universe.
Mm.
I don't think he fits here.
But they're addressing it. So,
and I'm glad they are. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Miles. But then again, I don't like extra characters.
As we've stated before, if you take nothing else away from this episode,
redundancies. No, thank you.
Department of Redundancy Department.
Yeah, Smarty says the Rogolzar family needs more screen time. I agree. We've gone a couple issues without seeing Rogolzar, and I feel
it's weird, isn't it?
You really need, for the Superman family of books, you really need to have this as the mantra, which is whenever Rogolzar is not on the page, all the other characters should be asking, "Where is Rogolzar?"
Rogolzar needs to be more proactive, more in your face, and have access to a time machine.
Exactly. Oh God, we're talking about the original character from Hell.
Yeah, right. I love it.
We're talking about the original dog from Hell. You mean Cerberus?
He needs nunchucks, and also he needs to be way more in your face. They just color his glasses dark.
Yep, that's it. Nailed it. Yeah, Rogolzar at the very least needs sunglasses.
Somewhere Bendis is listening right now. Access to a time machine, you say? Huh.
Doesn't he already have that?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure we're going to see him in that Legion book that I'm not reading. I'm sure there's going to be some stupid bullshit like he's a Kryptonian from the future who came back to the past or something.
Nailed it. We need Rogolzar. He needs to be Zarnian. He was a big nerd. Lobo made fun of him. He hit the gym. He had explosive diarrhea during the day that Zarnia was destroyed. And
missed the whole thing.
And he kept his head down, and he just and he hit the gym, but he's still a pathetic little loser, and Lobo can pants him.
Oh no, my Akajo windbreaker.
I promise you I will destroy Rogolzar if I ever get into the DC universe. I'm never going to get there, but if I ever did. The first thing I'll do is kill Rogolzar.
So what Sal is really saying is that we need the Rogolzar miniseries later this year is what we need to really dig deep into what he's all about.
I promise you, I will treat Rogolzar. I won't kill him right away. I'll treat Rogolzar the way Bendis treated the Shocker in the Ultimate Spider-Man book, where every time a hero shows up, they are just finishing defeating Rogolzar.
Yep.
And they're like, how do you keep getting out, Rogolzar? And he's like, I don't know.
They put Rogolzar in regular jail. Remember, the Hawks are like, don't worry, we'll put him in regular Hawk jail. But isn't your empire crumbling in other books? Whatever.
Whatever. We need him to leave, and we already put him in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, we already put him there once.
But yeah, James Daniels helping us out. Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate it. Kyle Johnson. I love the Superman family, but I hate the decision to never explore him as a father. So far, DC gave him 2 sons, Chris and John, and aged them up fast. I loved Chris. That was the testing ground for me being like, oh, Superman as dad, love it. I loved Chris as a kid. The Last Son of Krypton, one of my favorite Superman stories. Again, I think that was Jeff Johns.
I think so, too.
Great book. I actually loved the idea of Superman having an adopted son. Even better, particularly
because
Zod's.
He's adopted himself, yeah.
I loved that idea. I thought that was so cool. And I was very disappointed to hear that that did not work out. I didn't read the rest. I was like, after it ends and he goes into the Phantom, I'm like, no, I don't want to read that anymore. Like, I was out. 94 Evangelion. Should Barry be considered part of the Flash family, considering it was really Wally that started it? Also, I like Wally's kids. Wally's kids are cute. I don't really know them well enough to say one way or the other that they are, like, great. I do know that they are part of Wally's life, and I'm sad that he can't have them. But he just did. I know that he just got back together with them.
Kinda. Oh, did that happen? Again, I'm far behind on Flash.
Don't worry about it.
All right, that's fine. I won't.
But yeah, no. I'm only really saying Barry out of necessity, because in today's world, if I were to be like, oh, actually, Wally's the real Flash. Like, Wally's the one who's been actually Flash longer than Barry at this point. And, like, Wally knows more about, like, Wally's the one who invented the Speed Force. Like, Wally's the fastest. He's faster than Barry. Like, people look at me funny because they don't know who that is. Like,
you know, thinking, too, about families and supporting cast that never work out. Nightwing.
I couldn't name you more than one character that was in Nightwing's supporting cast.
No, you couldn't.
Like,
and that's
Barbara.
Sometimes, and even still, this is the life that Dick Grayson leads. Constantly changing jobs, constantly changing cities. No one in his life ever sticks around for more than a few minutes. No love interest ever survives a run.
It's almost like someone at the editorial level has a problem with Wally. Where did you go? I'm just looking at my my screen here. It's like somebody has a problem with Wally and Dick.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they do.
It's like someone has a personal vendetta, why they can never throw down roots and why they can never get anything started and why it's always changing.
Yeah, because, like, you could just fix that. Like, you could solve the problem of Nightwing and Wally by just giving them their own universes.
I mean, I guess the only consistent family they have is the Teen Titans, which I guess that's why people like that so much, because this is like where we all kind of get to come together and be colleagues and be spiritual siblings, because we all have similar backgrounds living in the shadows of these great heroes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're the next generation of heroes. But even then, they will throw that away at a moment's notice. Be like, you know what we really need, though? We need Damian Wayne running a junior Suicide Squad and having his own gulag and torturing people.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know who had
Adam
that
Glass.
idea. Yeah, but, like, what a friggin' good idea.
And the book was so good before Under Percy. It's like, wow, we're getting back to, you know, why I like the Teen Titans. Them having teen shenanigans while also balancing the superhero stuff. Boy, this is fun. Can't have it, though.
No. Don't enjoy that too much. Otherwise, we'll ruin it and take it away from you.
Yeah, and the fact that Damian was actually developing, having to hang around with, like, people his own age and being like, dude, act like a human being, please.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't want it. You guys are all gone. I'm going to recruit a new team of people who are crazy like me. And we'll also ruin Emiko, Green Arrow's sister, while we're at it. We'll be like, yeah, she's totally cool with this as well.
Yeah, it's weird that DC, I think, does a better job with Legacy and also hates them.
Isn't that weird where it's just like, fine, we'll do it. We're not going to like it, but we'll do it.
It's like strong-arming a brilliant artist to draw. Like, oh, fine, masterpiece. Like, oh, I hate these friggin' Legacy characters. Okay, fine, Nightwing. The literal perfect example of how to handle legacy and progression with your characters.
Yep.
You managed to make Dick Grayson aged up, become his own character, have his own whole thing, and not make Batman look old.
Yeah.
Slam dunk. I hate him.
Thanks, I hate it.
Jam Call X says, the Flash family is probably the most stable super family ever. 2011, Flashpoint called. He says he's coming for your butts. Yeah. And then Heroes in Crisis called and said, fuck Wally.
Yeah, really. Heroes in Crisis revving up its chainsaw. What was that about happiness?
Yeah, exactly. I got something to say about mental health.
I won't say it well, though, but I have something to say.
Yeah.
Oh, another family we'd be really remiss to talk about this. Are they even a family, though? Because many of them have their own stuff going on.
Yeah.
The X-Men.
Right. Yes. I mean, right now, the X-Men are like a brotherhood.
Very much
of
so.
Creepy mutants.
Yeah. Yeah, with a lot of boning going on.
Yeah. Implied boning. I almost wish that there was like more on-screen boning just to be like, yes, we are doing this. But it's really like just the whole island had sex. So it says to me that like, no, that's a metaphor for the fact that the whole island is banging. But
the mutants have never been closer than they are right now.
Exactly. But as far as a family goes, I mean, like, the X-Men, the family of X-Men books, it's become its own universe, practically.
Yes,
it was a franchise, for God's sake. A movie franchise of just the family of X-Men books. So, yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, you could call the X-Men family. I think that's probably what they called it when they were like, you're the editor of the X-Men family of books. Because we have
that makes a lot of sense.
I remember back in the day, it was like X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor, Sabretooth, Wolverine, Magneto. Mm-hmm. Like, they were a dozen X titles. That and you can went far beyond issue 12.
True, and you can easily put them in familial roles too. You know, Xavier and Magneto, they are the patriarchs of this family. They are your cool dad and your strict dad.
Yep. Well, don't forget about like Generation X when Emma Frost and Banshee were in charge of their own school and their own group of mutants and their own family of
didn't work out. Hanging out with cool mom or hot mom didn't work out.
Yeah, although I will say like that was a neat idea because it explored the concept of like of a family tree. Like,
and we can do it too.
You know, like, okay, Emma came from the Hellfire Club. Banshee came from, you know, the X-Men during the giant size X-Men era, and that branched into, and then these two come together to form the Generation X, and actually this character came from the X-Men, and so it's like if it's all traceable and it's all interconnected, boom, like you got yourself a family of books.
X-Men is really interesting too as we talk about this as it relates to supporting characters, because if you're a supporting character in the X-Men book long enough, you're going to get your own miniseries, and you're going to get to lead a team, and you're going to get to do everything if you just stick around long enough. You can go from background character to A+ player in only a few short years.
Yeah, and also the inverse can happen. Like you show up, like you come in like a wrecking ball, like Bishop, and then you get relegated to being a beat cop in M-Town.
Yeah,
but at least you get a book.
Working these streets. He's Red Bishop now, or working his way up to Red Bishop.
Yeah. Tevye wants to know how come both Bat families and Flash families get screwed. Because Batman is the biggest moneymaker, and people and the folks in charge seem to care about what happens with Flash. Like, literally, when it comes to Green Lantern, the reason why Green Lantern is like the table got flipped is because nobody gives a shit. Like upstairs about Green Lantern. So they're like, Grant Morrison wants it, he can do whatever he wants.
Sure.
But when it comes to like, it's all about agendas. And it's like the agenda with Batman, I want to make money. Why do you think Tom King's not writing Batman anymore? Like,
because it wasn't #1 anymore.
But why he's going to get his own Batman book? It's like, I want to make money. I want to make money on the Batman title, so Tom King's fired. But I want to make money off of Tom King, so Tom King's rehired and he's given his own Batman book. Like, that, it's all about making money and agendas.
Yeah.
Lucha Dandy says, "Hey Sal and Joel, quick question: What are your thoughts on Marvel or DC wanting to push into the family that doesn't seemingly fit, like making Jessica Drew a member of the Spider family?" I agree with that. I love when I want to say in Spider-Verse, like the comic, when Jessica Drew shows up, she's like, "What am I doing here?"
That's a funny joke where it's like, no, I keep saying forever. Even my costume is similar, but I couldn't be more different.
Yeah, I love that. Her new costume change is making her more like a Spider-Man family member.
Yeah.
I hate it more than most costume changes. Not as much as the Drake costume change, but I still loathe it. I think there needs to be... It's a tough nut to crack when it comes to Jessica Drew's costumes, but like, you know who's not using the Arachne costume anymore? Anybody.
Yeah.
You could just give her the Arachne costume.
Here you go. What's so funny about that is I felt so bad for like the 5 Spider-Woman fans that I know on Twitter who are like, oh, they're bringing her back. She's getting a solo book and she's in her original costume. Oh no, they changed it. Why did they change it on us?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
What a fucking tease. What a fucking Lucy with the football moment. And the Spider-Woman fan base is Charlie Brett. Hey, kick the football. Nope.
Yeah. No, but Spider-Woman, regardless of her name, has nothing to do with the Spider family. I will say that until my dying breath. But when it comes to Jessica Drew, the only reason why they're pushing it is because Sony owns that character.
Ooh, here's a family that's actually enjoyed a bit of a resurgence recently when they weren't prominent for a while. The Bruce Banner Hulk family with Betty and Rick and his psychiatrist.
Yes, Betty, Rick,
Doc.
Doc Samson, Jennifer Walters.
Although she's not really in the new Hulk book, but
but she should be. Like, and I want to say, if anybody can not fix, but more like redefine Jen Walters, I trust in Al Ewing.
I mean, Aaron shot his shot. He tried there. It's like, oh, sure, you all like She-Hulk, but you were all laughing at her for most of her time. You never really took her seriously. But also, here's a purple space bikini, too, because I also don't know what I'm doing with this character.
Yeah.
What fucking whiplash. He devotes a whole story to her. We get to see all of her different forms, her putting herself on trial, and her being like, yeah, people were laughing at me, and, villains were catcalling me and pinching me and shit. That's not cool. They don't do that to any other hero. And then to just a couple arcs later, purple space bikini, though.
Right. I literally just read an original graphic novel called The Sensational She-Hulk from John Byrne. It is one of the most gratuitous things I've ever seen.
Boy, is it.
But of course it is, because it's John Byrne's She-Hulk. Jen really embraces her sexuality, and as much as, like, I appreciate, like, I don't know, being forward-thinking, like, there are plenty of characters. There's no shortage of diminishing and
TNA characters.
Well, characters who could represent the wrong side of fandom or the wrong side of masculinity.
Right.
Jennifer Walters is not one of those people. Like, I think Jen Walters fully embraced her sexuality and her femininity and was like, I'm hot, I'm a woman, I'm straight, this is what I do. Like, when she there's a moment where she through bullshit, she's stuck in the in the She-Hulk form, and she can never turn back.
Right.
And there's this, Reed Richards tells her, and there's this 3-panel pause. It's the exact same panel the entire time. Then she goes, "So what's the problem?"
I'm an 8-foot-tall green supermodel.
Yeah, I love being She-Hulk, and I'm like, I can't argue with that. It's when you, like, make her sleep with Juggernaut, or you use her as a
punchline.
A punchline. Well, there are, like, Deadpool can be a punchline. Howard the Duck can be a punchline. Jennifer Walters can be a punchline. It's just that, like, when you use her sexuality for the purposes of only making her sexual,
when you're diminishing her and tearing her down because of it, that ain't cool.
Right. But if you want to explore sexuality and you want to make a character who embraces being, she's like, I'm attractive, and I like it.
Which, if I may indict current comic book industry, I don't know if a lot of the dudes writing comic book stories right now would be able to write that sort of story and not have it be gross.
It's actually a double-edged sword. They couldn't write it without it coming across as tone deaf. Yeah. And they also wouldn't know how to do it without coming across as tone deaf.
Yeah.
She's a really tough problem.
Tough nut to crack, yeah.
Yeah, she's a tough nut to crack because, like, you can't do what you did before, but also there's nothing wrong necessarily with exploring the sexuality of Jennifer Walters. So
just take the right writer. And again, I don't know, is Ewing up for that one while he's also telling, a pointedly political
absolutely
epic while also doing a cosmic horror story?
And I'm not even saying that he's ill-equipped. It's more like, I don't want to distract him by having him try and jump through that hoop.
Because he's also writing, like, one of the best runs of all time right now. So keep doing what you're doing, Al.
Right, like, don't distract Al from the finish line.
Yeah.
But there is room, and I think it could work. I mean, like, there are enough, like, sexually charged characters across the board that, like, don't get this kind of bullshit.
No, it's true.
I think you could probably get away with it with She-Hulk.
And I think it's because people like... And I think it's because people like She-Hulk so much that they're that much more protective of her, which is a good thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, as far as that goes, the Hulk family, Yeah, it's all a bunch of gamma-irradiated mental patients. People who just have major problems.
Now more than ever. And I love that Ewing is very much exploring that fact where it's like him and Betty, we're together, but we're not together, but we're also exes who are forced to work together right now.
Yeah, I love that.
And she also occasionally becomes a monster that literally eats the heart out of my chest. Do you get the symbolism?
Do you get it? Yeah, I get it, Al.
And I love it.
DBK... Elidro says, now can we say Spider-Man has his own family now? Yeah, there's a Spider family.
Yeah.
I hate it, but there is one. Nothing makes a character seem unique, fun, and as an outsider than reminding you there's 10,000 versions of him.
Yeah, I think they're all different enough.
They are all different enough, but like, so don't call him anymore. Like, and they don't. They didn't for the last one.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, he worked in the movie. It works in like a 2-hour or 90-minute window. It doesn't necessarily work as like an element in his universe. Like,
that also has a super sharp script and, again, runtime, like you said.
Right. Like, if you want to explore Peter Parker against Peter Parker ripoff analogs and Miles, that works for 90 minutes, but it doesn't work for like a status quo in serialized fiction, I think. Amazing Zero, Daredevil family, the ones that aren't dead.
Oh, yeah, and the ones that don't leave him. Man, talk about a family that probably shouldn't be together and yet keeps coming together. Him, Foggy, Elektra.
Yep. I think Karen's still dead.
Oh, yeah, she's been dead for a long time. One of the few characters who's not only not ever been resurrected, but they haven't even teased resurrecting her.
She came back in Marvel Knights by Donny Cates and whoever the hell.
But was she real, though?
She was a ghost.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say.
Or a vision.
or something. There was weird dream machine bullshit in that story. I never finished it. I finished it like one issue before the end, and I'm like, all right, this isn't going where I thought it was going.
It was horrible.
And nothing to do with Marvel Knights.
Well, the Marvel Knights from the first run appeared in it.
Oh.
That's it.
I didn't even read that far. Holy shit.
It was horrible. And like people Donny Cates hasn't had a friggin' bad run. That book. Now, he didn't write all of it.
That's true. And also, most people have forgotten about it already.
Yeah. Taylor Pester, what about the JSA? They're often called a family by the League themselves. Agreed. But, yeah, but it's not like a family, like, Alan Scott's part of the Green Lantern family. And, like,
he also
Jay
has kids
Garrick,
of his own.
Flash family, like it's more like they're a team. Like I would say they call themselves a family, but I wouldn't call them like the family of books. Like it's more like they're a family of old characters. But like Max Mercury isn't there,
right? We're like the Golden Age family. I always consider them more of like the elder statesmen of the DC universe.
Agreed. DBK says the Arrow family so underrated. We talked about them a little bit earlier.
Yes. Especially the Winnick era. No one, I think, tried to crack that nut as hard as Winnick did.
Although I will say Kevin Smith kind of introduced a little bit of of an Arrow family.
Well, because he introduced Mia and Arrow, so he got the ball rolling, and Winnick picked it up and ran with it.
He did, and it's like, wow, something he did and stuck with and completed.
Credit where credit is due.
That's cool.
It's true. I will always give him credit for that he helped create arguably one of my favorite runs on my favorite hero.
Right? 94 Evangelion. Why does Dan DiDio and the rest of DC editorial hate Wally, Dick, Roy's daughter, Lian? I think it's just... I don't even think they know the characters and don't like them. It's not like...
us feel old.
It's not like if I were in charge of DC and I'm like, no... Joe Quesada hated Speedball.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When he became editor-in-chief, I remember him saying out loud, like, I hate Speedball. I'm going to pin Civil War on him. But even he was like, we're going to make him a new character. I'm going to make money off of him.
Yeah.
He turned him into Penance, which I remember when I went on record like 5-6 years ago saying like, Penance is stupid and this is a terrible idea. And people were like, you're an insensitive asshole and I've gone through trauma and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, right on. I didn't realize I was so insensitive. And then like everybody circled back around. We're like, Penance is a stupid idea. And I'm like, whoa.
Where were you 5-6 years ago?
But yeah, no. But like Joe Quesada hated Speedball and was happy to be on record saying so. Dan DiDio's never said, I hate Wally West.
No.
He has never said, I hate Roy's daughter, Lian, or Dick.
Because he just shows it.
Well, it's like, and I think he doesn't regard them. I think it's more like he doesn't understand why other people like them so much. And he sees them as a problem, which is aging these characters. Even though I think DC looks old. Like, the problem is, ultimately, like, from my perspective, DC's the older company.
They are, yeah.
And it's only because they have Superman and Batman. Like, it's just,
totally.
They've been around forever. Also, they're the only ones who have a team of old people.
That's literally the thing, which I love the concept of a team of old people.
Right, but, like, that's why I think I associate DC with, like, being older or feeling older.
I mean, their characters literally fought in World War II. There was just like long stretches of story, like DC during the war.
Yeah, the Blackhawks are literally a team of fighter pilots
Sergeant
in the war.
Sergeant Rock and Easy Company.
By the way, huge number of people who grew up with DC Comics because their parents fought in wars.
Yeah.
Who had free copies of Sergeant Rock back in the day. My best friend from childhood's father fought in Vietnam, and he had Sergeant Rock comics when he was in the war.
That's crazy.
Like, so, and this guy who hates comics and has nothing to do with them had Sergeant Rock books because he's like, well, that's part of my life.
Wow.
DC has history.
Very much.
Colton Houston, today is my 21st birthday. Happy birthday, Colton.
Hey.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
My college friends are away for break, so my beer money is going to my favorite channel. Aw, thank you.
Aw.
Love you guys. Also, do more Spider-Man. I try, man. I don't want to overdo it. We're not a Spider-Man channel. I love Spider-Man. But I don't want to turn us into a Spider-Man channel because there's only so far that can go. You know what I mean? Like, there are Spider-Man YouTube channels out there that are dedicated just to Spider-Man. They have a glass ceiling because there's only so many Spider-Man fans out there. But I try to give it all. I don't want to overdo it. But happy birthday!
Variety is the spice of life.
That's right. Smarty, the Coca-Cola family, Sal's favorite.
I
prefer it.
Man. That's an episode. We got to talk. Maybe that's something for the backup thing. Yeah, we got to talk about brands, and especially like, hey, what cola brand was important to you? What memories do you tie to Cherry Coke?
Yeah. By the way, just as an aside, since it was asked, the Freestyle machines, which is the reason, like, they got rid of Coke Orange, which was the whole reason I was excited for the Freestyle machines in the first place. They made Coke Orange, they had Coke Vanilla, they had Coke Raspberry and stuff. And then they noticed people were merging their vanilla and their Coke Orange. And then they started making cans of it.
Yes, I've had one just recently.
It's not bad. I like it. I like
it too.
It's a little too sweet. So I don't. It's an acquired taste. I kind of dig it, but I'd rather Coke Orange. And then they got rid of Orange entirely and just merged the two. And I'm like, no, that's the whole reason I'm going to your Freestyle machines. That's why I hunted one down back in the day and drove all the way to Livingston to find one. It's because I wanted Coke Orange, and now they're like, nope, you can never have it without vanilla. It's too sweet now.
Too syrupy.
It's too much.
I feel you, man. Canada had such a weird history with those. I remember they made a huge deal when Vanilla Coke finally came to Canada. Like, I remember the ad campaigns, like, it's finally coming, it's finally here.
Yeah. Jumping back in, the Iceman says, want to shout out Deadpool pre-Secret Empire. He had a cool little extended family. He had a mercenary group and a pseudo family. It was interesting.
That's right. Agent Preston, who was like, trapped inside his mind for a little bit and was forced to hang out with him, then like still hung out with him after the fact. And she's like, well, I've been inside his head. I understand him now. I know that he's a sad clown. He had his adopted daughter, Ellie, for a little while, who I don't think his adopted daughter, Ellie, ever got to hang out with, Kid Apocalypse, which is a shame because that was his other adopted kid. Yeah. And I would have liked that if they brought them together. But yeah, he did have a really sweet, really nice nuclear family there for a little bit.
Yeah. Gar, I assume of Gar Manarnar fame, says, no, he's probably...
Gar Manarnar.
Gar Manarnar. No, but it's just Gar. Are Marvel's teen heroes a family of books? I assume that the cases like Young Avengers,
the Champions family.
The Champions. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They're literally like the younger generation of characters that Marvel editorial would rather forget about.
Which is a shame.
Yeah. Patriot, Wiccan, Hulkling. Although, I will say, Wiccan and Hulkling showed up. They were the protagonists of the Death's Head miniseries.
Yeah.
And they're part of the...
Empire story coming up.
Yeah, the Empire story. Hulkling's going to fulfill his destiny.
Which can I talk about that for a minute?
Yeah.
That stuck in my craw so much to the point. It's like, hey, we brought back this couple you loved so much. Oh, and we got a great new idea for you. What if they broke up?
Well, are they breaking up, or is it more like he has to leave?
I mean, I'm assuming that's going to cause problems. But it's like, all
Oh
right, so
yeah.
I'm head of this new empire. We're probably going to end up coming to Earth to make war because that's what always happens.
Well, for me, you know what it reads like?
What?
The breakup of Starfire and Nightwing when she had to go to her arranged
Mm-hmm.
marriage and leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
That's pretty good.
I think they're gonna do that. I think Hulkling's gonna have an arranged marriage,
Right.
and Wiccan's gonna be like, no.
Right, and we got to put some stress on this relationship here. I hope they don't break them up because I think that's so lazy writing to take a group of characters that people love as a couple, break them up, and it also has that extra stinging level to where it's like, hey, here's one of the few, prominent, well-adjusted, good gay relationships we have. Oh, and we're breaking them up too.
Right. Well, that just makes it so much more sad.
Apparently.
But yeah, no, I agree. Listen, but like but if it ends well, then it was worth the journey. Hopefully,
I guess we'll see.
we'll see who's writing it.
I don't know. Have they announced who's writing Empire yet? I know they announced like the several new stories they
I
have.
have no idea. If it's like the guy who wrote the Children's Crusade, then it'll be great. But yeah. And the Bat Family.
Yes.
I don't like the Bat Family so much.
I know you don't. We've argued about this.
Because it's too much. Too much. He's a loner. The Bat Family, Batman, Alfred, maybe a Robin. You're good.
My only problem with the Bat Family is that they are constantly doing the same do-si-do every 5 to 8 years with them, and that is, oh, you're my family, I love you, you've filled that place in my heart from my parents who have died, and we can make Gotham so much of a better place together, and it's me passing on my time and training to you. But I'm also gonna lie to you and deceive you, and you're gonna get mad at me, and we're gonna break up, and then there's gonna be a threat that's gonna bring us back together, and I'll learn a lesson, but then we'll do it all again 5 to 8 years from now.
Well, yeah, that's how it all works. Comics are cyclical, man. I mean, like, I agree and I hate it, but yeah, that's the only way you can do it. It'd be more like it'd be better if you treated it like they did. I hate to say it, like they did in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it's like, there's a Bat family of books, there's a Robin book. It stars Tim Drake. He's Robin. Batman doesn't need a Robin, though, so he's Robin and doing his own thing over here. Nightwing, he's a character, doesn't need Batman. He's over here. We got a Catwoman book. She's not even with them. She's just part of it's just the same editors working on that book, and she's over there. We also have, at that time, we had the Gotham City Police Department had a book. The Bat family, the police part. That is a book too. Like Kathy Kane, Batwoman, not that was after 2009 or so, but Kathy Kane, Batwoman, totally unrelated. Tonally, it was just that's it over there. You want to make money off of Bat books. You have a plethora of characters to choose from, unless it's the Signal, in which case it's not going to make any money.
Oh, poor Duke.
No, fuck Duke. Duke shouldn't be here.
I like what they were trying to do with Duke, and that is
Duke. No, they weren't trying to do anything with Duke. Here's what they were trying to do with Duke. Okay, they were trying to make lemons out of lemonade. Scott Snyder had Duke as an allegory character that the Joker made to razzle Batman. He's not really supposed to be anybody. He's just a metaphor. He's a tragic metaphor because he's a real person that Joker was using to hurt and manipulate Batman, the main fucking character. Then Snyder's like, ooh, I own Duke. Maybe I can make Duke into a new idea. And because I'm Scott Snyder and no one will tell me no, I'll get to fast track that shit. And he did. And then anybody else was like, well, that didn't work, obviously, but maybe I could do something with Duke. I mean, he's got the backing of Scott Snyder, so it's not like he's going to fail right. He's not going to fall flat on his face.
It's funny, the way I always looked at it was like, hey, new 52, new ideas, we can do whatever we want. Shouldn't the new era of DC Comics have a new Robin-like character? And hey, wouldn't it be interesting if we could, kind of have a character representing of other people by having Duke? But that's an interesting read, yours, yeah.
If they did that, but they already had 5 Robins in the new 52.
And they couldn't figure out which one was which. And
if it was new 52 and they were like, there were no Robins.
Yes.
And Duke's the first Robin.
Yeah.
I would hate that, but only because, I think that there's something fundamentally, I don't know, elemental about Dick Grayson and his origin and how it's
Well,
because
because he's the first sidekick.
not only is I'm trying to think of like Captain Marvel and how he got sidekicks, but like
yeah, that's true. And I mean,
he was the world's first sidekick.
There you go. He's sidekick prime. He wrote a lot of the rules that all the other ones would follow.
And the fact is, with Dick Grayson, like Batman had Robin less than a year into his career. Like in the publishing history,
yes,
Batman was a solo act for like a year,
which people forget.
And then Robin. Like the first issue I think of Batman has Robin on the cover. So Robin is intrinsic and essential. If you go, well, I'm going to make Duke the first Robin, and he's not going to be Robin. It's going to be the first idea. That way, editorially speaking, Dick Grayson can still be the first Robin, but you're mucking with the history. It's why I don't really like the new trilogy of Star Wars movies, even though I think they're technically they look and feel better than the prequels.
Oh, no doubt.
Because they don't follow the Campbellian journey. Star Wars doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
It needs to follow a 3-act structure.
As Mandalorian shows.
Right, with an arc for the main character. Follow the hero's journey. It's a story everyone enjoys. You know, you want to get like cerebral storytelling, get it from anything else. Like you don't need to make every franchise be complicated and new and you don't need to Jason Bourne Batman by having frenetic editing, Chris Nolan in Batman Begins, and you don't need to have like James Bond be like whatever the hell you turn James Bond into.
Yeah, like, I agree on that one.
You don't need to, and you don't need to turn Batman into something else. No one's reading Batman for something new. Now that being said, you can do new things with Batman, but like the baseline, we can all agree. We understand Batman because we're all coming at it from the same perspective. Right. I know what these things make up Batman. It's why I don't like Zero Year. I'm like, you got too much shit in there. It's too complicated.
And we stopped referencing Zero Year at a point.
And it's not like I'm dumb. I'm not like, it's complicated, I don't understand. It's just like, no, it's you're overcomplicating a very simple thing.
You're reinventing the wheel.
Right. Like, you know what? Sometimes I just want a bagel with cream cheese. Doesn't have to be an everything bagel. You get too many flavors, it changes the palate. You know, I don't want that necessarily. Sometimes I do. It's fun to mix it up sometimes.
Do explain everything bagel. I know what it is, but I get the feeling that that's a cultural thing that doesn't translate to other countries.
Everything bagel is literally a bagel, but with like most of the toppings on it. Like it's got seeds, it's got spices, it's got pepper and salt and everything on it. Like it's all of, you know, you can get a salt and pepper, you can get a salt bagel, you can get a sesame seed bagel. It's just all of the toppings of those bagels, but on one bagel.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much.
This reminds me of our bacon on cheeseburgers conversation. It's like, look, I like the idea of bacon. I like burgers, but when you put it together, it's all falling all over the place, and I never get an equal bacon to burger bite ratio.
Nope. The problem with bacon on burgers is no one ever makes crispy bacon. So when you bite into it, you have now bitten into a rug that pulls everything on the burger out. That's not how it works. The only time to put bacon on a burger is if it's crispy bacon. And even then, I'm going to pass. Now, Taylor ham, I'll take that on a burger.
Which is a very New Jersey thing. I still got to try Taylor ham.
It's quite good. Anyway, Cash Money in the Bank, Tynan's Daredevil. Man, James Tynan on Daredevil. Ho ho.
Man, that's exciting. This dude's getting all the good books.
Yeah. Tynan's Detective Run is one of my favorites for its focus on the Bat family. Honestly, such great characters there. You don't even need Batman around for the team to work. Was bummed when it ended.
And he wasn't for long periods of that book. It really was kind of a stealth. Let's talk about the sidekicks and supporting cast. And Batman's here too.
And that works really well. A Bat family book is a good idea. But you gotta call it detective. Otherwise, it's not going to sell.
It's true.
Denial, Slott and Ewing are writing Empire.
Oh, okay.
So Al Ewing, awesome.
Yeah, Ewing gets to go back to his cosmic. Well, in fact, didn't he write the New Avengers story where Hulkling got the sword that he mentioned, which is, you know, his Arthurian, you get to be king because you got the sword?
Yeah, I think so. So he's actually just paying off the stuff he wrote already.
That's good. I like that. I like when they get to do that.
And Dan Slott's there too.
Yeah.
Oh. The Red Samurai.
He's collaborative. I like to see him work with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think his Iron Man has been good because he's had co-writers to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah. The Red Samurai, Bat Family equals CW nonsense. Superman family is the real family DC needs and refuses to accept that for some reason. I hear you. I think the Flash family is the family.
Agreed.
Superman, just wife, kid, boom, you're done.
Occasionally dog. Is Crypto part of the family?
Absolutely.
There you go.
A dog is, a pet is always a member of the family.
And I guess Supergirl, too, and Streaky the Super Cat, they get to be in there, too.
Yeah, definitely. Christian Barraza says, Empire is going to be written by Al Ewing and carrying on some of the story threads left over from his run on Avengers.
Hey, what did we just say? Wonderful.
Exactly. No, that's great. Yeah, Al Ewing in space is great. And I'm looking forward to seeing how, like, if this is where Dan Slott's strengths lie. Because I don't think they're in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I stopped reading that one after a while.
I had to drop it. It was just, Silver Cricket says, I figured since Duke and Bruce were constantly said and shown to have similar mindsets that Snyder was setting up Duke to be the Batman successor. That would make sense. It'd be a great idea. He's not, though.
Right.
That would have been great. If Duke was Batman or Batman Beyond or something, if Bruce had made like a prototype Batman Beyond suit, and he's like, you're going to be beyond me. You know what I mean? And then they made Batman Beyond because they don't want to do the Tim Draken's future, or they don't want to do the Terry McGinnis. He's like, you can do more work beyond me.
Right.
And he makes Duke into like an international hero or something. Like, that'd be kind of cool. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, we don't have an international Batman. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Mr. Roboto, Daredevil family, Plastic Man family, and Arrow family. Daredevil family, we talked about a little bit. Plastic Man family, we didn't talk about at all. I know nothing about it.
Neither do I, actually.
And the Arrow family we did cover as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
I think so. I think we covered a lot of ground.
By the way, if you ever have any issues with the stream, just click the refresh button.
Yeah.
TB says, how about the Endless as a comic book family? Totally. They're a comic book family. I don't know if they're the Endless and the Endless books are like a family of books. But yeah, the Endless definitely a family. I mean, yeah, they are a literal family.
Interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Sandman. We're going to go back to that someday.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. But listen, we want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us and watching. If you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Go over to patreon.com/ComicPOP to catch an extra show that Joel and I record. The last one didn't go up because I couldn't rip the audio for some reason, but it's going up hopefully today. And we'll get that going. And then we'll record one today and get it out there. But bonus show called One Shots. We talk a little bit about stuff that are different and connected. It's something else. I promise.
You never know what you're going to get.
That's very true. But that's it. We want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to stick around because later on in this channel, we'll be releasing back issues, and that'll be coming out later on tonight. Leatherface707, as a ComicPOP, hey ComicPOP fam, this is my first super chat on YouTube. Hey. Well, you really just caught under the wire, man.
Yeah, really.
And I want to say thanks for the knowledge and making my work hours fly by. Well, thank you very much, man, for your super chat, and of course for staying and hanging out with us and watching this channel for so long. We're very lucky to have you. Thank you so much, man. So that's it, everybody. We'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode. Again, stick around. Daniel Ingram now is also in the Super Chats. Says, the DC families have always struck me as the strongest, but I've been hearing rumors that the Dia wants to get rid of all the sidekicks. Do you think that's true? I think it is. Put it past him. I think it is, but I think it's something even he can't do because, you would be getting rid of a lot of revenue.
Absolutely, the sidekicks are like one of the cornerstones. Yeah, that's they're the corners. It's not like you don't have a show with them right now.
Right. I mean, they just proved you can kill Alfred and at least get away with a few issues of Batman. But can you expunge the sidekicks? I say thee nay.
No, yeah, I agree.
But no, DC has the strongest foundation. DC has the legacy. Marvel is the present. That's how I've always viewed it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, woof. Anyway, that's it. We want to thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time with an all-new episode. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Is there anything at the top of the hour we want to address? I'm trying to remember.
No, I think we got it all.
No, but stay tuned for more ComicPOP 2020. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a lot of changes. As you can see, we got the green screen and stuff over here. Doing that on Off the Rack as well. We're also doing more with... I changed a lot of sets. If you want to see some progress, you can always go to patreon.com/ComicPOP, or you can go to instagram.com/ComicPOPofficial to see posts we make. I've done a couple of those, and we have a poll that goes up every couple of days. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, that's it. See you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.